Thank you, Andrew and the team. Good morning. Welcome to CSLDallas, the Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Karen Fry, and it is above freezing. Woo! Isn't that great? Yay. So, welcome. This is a hot place to be today.
Yeah.
It really is, because guess what, folks? We're going to stop complaining. Are you in?
Every year of every day, thousands of people fall victim to FWP.
I'm so cold.
Starving.
Nobody cares about me.
Also known as first world problems.
I'm so cold. Somebody set the AC to 72. I need it at 73.
Starving. All we have is leftovers.
Nobody cares about me. Nobody commented or liked my status.
Hi, I'm Ryan Higa, and for just 5 hours of attention a day, you could help somebody with FWP.
Everyone keeps putting so much pressure on me. I don't know what I want for my birthday.
I have too much chips for my dip. But if I open a new dip, I'll have too much dip for my chips.
Why does Apple keep making new iPhones? Now I have to get another one?
They've been through so much struggle.
The remote's over there, but I'm all the way over here.
So much hardship.
My iPhone 5 is too big for my skinny jeans.
So much attention. Tension.
I poured my cereal without checking to see if we had milk. We didn't.
So please, show your support and send them this video. And show them how much we care about their FWPs.
I bought too many groceries. Now I'll have to make 2 trips.
All you have to do is call the URL, 1-800.org, and we'll send you the FWP helping kit, which includes a bridge, a straw, and a full cup with a cover. Here's a bridge. Now get over it. Here's a straw. Now suck it up. Here's a full cup. Now shut the full cup. With your help, we can put an end to FWPs and focus on the real problems, like starving children or homeless people. Because if you're complaining about something as silly as the iPhone 5, just wait till you see the iPhone 6. Oh, this is the iPhone 5S. This is the iPhone 6.
First of all, I really just have to say this one. I said, Petra, look at this. She said, let's show it. I went, God, I love working here. So, anybody got a straw? I love that. But, really, think about it. I love first world problems. What are we complaining about? Let it sink in. Why do we complain? Well, actually, if you look out there, it's pretty consistent in the reasons why. Number one, we complain because we want to get attention. And it's
we want
a good
somebody
way
to say, oh, I'm so sorry.
The weather was so bad this week.
Wow, it just was terrible.
Forget the 4 feet in Ohio that my family's dealing with. But, so we complain to get attention. Number one. Number two, it actually is a habit. It's become a habit, and it's rampant in our culture. So we're sort of like collecting little lemmings, and it's the thing to do, and we all do it. Mm-hmm. Yes? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it becomes a habit, and sometimes we don't even know that we're doing it, that we're complaining. Oh, it's hot up here, Willie. Will you turn that down? That was a joke. Okay, so anyway. And so we just complain. Now, it's a good conversation starter. It actually is a way that we can find some common ground. Think about it. When we're in an uncomfortable situation, let's say in an elevator, and we're riding up the elevator with a stranger. And in Las Vegas, let's say. Man, just all the bing-bing and the noise and the smoke.
I know, isn't it awful? Gosh, why do we even come here? What is the point?
Know. Right? It's a way to find that common ground. Of course, we could find that we're on uncommon ground, too, as we try. But, it's really cold outside, isn't it? It keeps us from taking action. As we complain, we don't have to do anything about it. We don't have to find a solution. We just get to complain about it over and over and over again. You know, management here is so negative. Not here, but you know, right? So negative. All they do is bitch and complain. Right? But don't have to do anything about it. Right? And it certainly allows us to avoid or remove any kind of responsibility. Management is so negative here. All they do is complain. I don't have to take responsibility and start being more positive to change the situation. I don't have to do anything. I can just keep complaining.
So most of us live in lives that look like this. The challenge with complaining is that it has a lot of negative effects. It has negative effects at every level of our being. Complaining keeps us focused on the problem, and so it has a negative psychological effect in that it keeps us wrapped in whatever is going on. Complaining has a negative effect on our bodies. When we are constantly wondering and talking about our ailments, how are they ever going to get better? If we're constantly focusing on what's wrong with our knee or our back or our head or whatever it is, we are systematically supporting these illnesses and ailments that we have. There's something else going on in our body when we complain, though. This was fascinating research that I discovered that it blew me away. Okay, so listen to this. Trevor Blake, he's the author of 3 Simple Steps, A Map to Success in Business and Life. Did you know that complaining actually impairs your brain? Even listening to extended complaining can cause the problem-solving part of your brain to shut down. Blake shares research done by neuroscientists stating that being exposed to too much complaining can actually make you dumb. Research shows that exposure to 30 minutes or more of negativity, 30 minutes or more of negativity, including viewing such material on television, actually peels away neurons in the brain's hippocampus. That's the part of your brain you need for problem solving. Blake says, basically it turns your brain to mush. Or to tears. So complaining has a lot of negative ramifications within our systems, within our bodies, our minds, our emotions. It's also incredibly destructive to our relationships. How many of us want to hang around people who are constantly complaining? Oh, the problem is that we often do, because that's how we find common ground. As Karen said, that's how we relate to each other. The problem is that it destroys relationships. Complaining destroys relationships, particularly when you're complaining about the other person. So when the marriage counselor was working with a marriage couple, and the woman said, I've had enough. I'm done. I'm asking for a divorce. No more. After years of marriage, it is over. She went home with her husband, and she decided since it was over, she was no longer going to she was just no longer going to complain about anything he was doing. She just had given up, and she was over it. 30 days later, it was as if they were on their second honeymoon. Why? Because she had stopped complaining about him and constantly nagging on him. Complaining has such far-reaching ramifications.
Yeah, and so we wanted to actually make a distinction, though, that there is a difference between venting and complaining. Venting done properly is actually very good for us. It's positive. And there is a difference. It's a good thing. So simply blowing off some steam for one reason or another and just getting it out and letting it drop, that's like venting. That's good. You know, it's this positive, healthy activity because it blows off the anger, it blows off the resentment, it blows it off. But it's got to be blown off and let go. You know, you can call up a friend and say, okay, Peter, I only need 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Really, something happened on the way to work. There was this idiot in front of me, whatever, you know, so I just need to vent. And I can just go, blah, 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 and I just get it out, and it's gone.
Of course, the trick is it has to be really gone.
Complaining, I would wallow in it. And I'd actually tell that to about 17 more friends that they wouldn't know. right? One of the things that happens when we vent afterwards, we actually feel better.
Yeah.
We feel better after venting. Complaining, not so much, right? And there's no goal in mind with venting, with complaining. With venting, you actually you have that goal. It's intentional. It's not reactionary. It's intentional. I'm intentionally going to call up and just get it out, right? There's another difference. Venting, we can do by ourselves. We can choose to do by ourselves. One could punch a pillow, or, you know, after my altercation on the way to work, I could go and lift some weights and just, like, get it out, right?
I could go in the car and roll up the...
Right? And we feel better. We got it out. But it's not this perpetuating, wallow in it, right? Bless you. But the difference is also complaining. You always got to do it with someone else. There's someone else involved. And you're usually sucking the energy in the room or bringing it down, right? It impacts, like Peter said, it impacts those around you. So there is a difference.
Complaining is the act of reinforcing what you don't want and intending even more of it. Let's just rush right out and do that, don't you think? The act of reinforcing what you don't want, intending even more of it. It's the act of dwelling on the negative. Now, we know the impact of complaining from so many different places. We've just talked about it from neuroscience. We know it from the marriage counselor. We know it from our own experience, how destructive it is. From NLP, they talk about it this way. When you complain, you are simply reinforcing negative thoughts. And the more you complain, the more you summon your creative energies to attract the very thing you are complaining about. It has been said that when you complain, you are really placing your order for more of the same. You are creating a map from which you perceive your reality.
I'll have more of that.
Really? Really? Is that what we want more of? I love this. Instead of complaining that the rose bush is full of thorns, be happy the thorn bush has roses. Right? I mean, so, you know, so there's that cute little thing, is the glass half empty or the glass half full? And we think, oh, yeah, I do that. But are we really paying attention to what's coming out of our mouth on a regular basis, that when we are not being intentional about it? So we are working with this fabulous book that Reverend Karen talked about, Joe Dispenza's book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And he's going to start out where some of our other books have started out in the last few months, and that is in the quantum field. Joe Dispenza is really going to help us see where spirituality and science have met, and they've met in the quantum field. And these ancient mysteries and ancient technologies that we've learned from the mystics that we teach in Science of Mind, these are now being corroborated from a scientific point of view. He says this: at the subatomic level, energy responds to your mindful attention and becomes matter. Let me read that again. At the subatomic level, energy responds to your mindful attention and becomes matter. So what he's talking about is what's called the observer phenomena, that when you look at the subatomic particles in an atom and the electrons, and they're winking in and out of existence, it no longer looks like the Tinker Toys that we grew up with. It's now a cloud where the electron has a potential to come into being. And why does it come into being where it is? Well, basically habit. It's been observed into that place. The universe, the macrocosm, has observed it into that place. That was when God said, let there be light, let there be planets, let there be the earth, let there be this, let there be that. Right? That's a representation of the macrocosm observing life into place. If we are made in the image and likeness of the divine, we are doing the same thing. At the subatomic level, energy responds to your mindful attention and becomes matter. We're literally deciding how those electrons are winking into existence, into the material experience of our lives. How would your life change if you learned to direct the observer effect and to collapse the infinite waves of probability into the reality that you choose. Could you get better at observing the life you want? Yes. Do you see? When we're complaining, we are observing the life we don't want in great detail, over and over and over again.
Want more of that?
No. Do you see? And so when we are shifting our attention, we observe the life that we do want, and we begin to collapse the quantum field in a new way. He says this: the quantum field responds not to what you want, it responds to who you are being. And what is complaining but that negative state of being that we wander around in, where it's just never quite right, and we find those people that will collude with us in the ain't it awful and it doesn't work, and those people and them and that, and on and on and on it goes. So he says this: I find it a useful model to think of thoughts as the electrical charge in the quantum field and feelings as the magnetic charge in the field. You'll notice that when he talks about state of being or state of mind, he's not talking about purely our intellect. He's talking about the mind-heart connection, which includes the body. The thoughts we think send an electrical signal out into the field, telling the electron how to wink back into existence, and the feelings we generate magnetically draw these events back to us. Together, how we think and feel, so our state of being or our state of consciousness, produces a state of being which generates an electromagnetic signature that influences every atom in our world. This should prompt us to ask, what am I broadcasting, consciously or unconsciously, on a daily basis? If you insist on thinking and feeling equal to the circumstances of your life, you will reaffirm that particular reality. Do you see? If I continually insist on thinking and feeling through my unconscious complaining, through my habitual, whatever that is that we're constantly talking about in the negative point of view, we are over and over and over at the subatomic level, we are affirming that life back into existence. But we can turn it around.
Yes, we can.
I've been in bondage, and I've been held back. I've been imprisoned by thoughts of fear and lack. I have had anger, and I have had guilt. These are the bricks on which my life's been built. But I'm free to turn it around. Oh, I'm free to turn it around. Yes, I'm free to turn it around. Free to look up instead of looking down. I get so tired of looking down. I've been attracted to negative thought. I get so distracted
Yeah. So that's what we're up to. We are up to turning it around to find that place. And could you feel it? You could feel it. Dina, man, she was digging it out there. She was like, "Rah!" You know, and sometimes that's what it takes, right? That's what it takes to live consciously. Complaining incessantly to anyone who will listen to us while simultaneously wallowing in the negativity for an indefinite period of time without any desire or interest in solving the issue can no longer be an option. Holy moly.
Not an option, not an option.
It is time to turn it around. And yes, it takes a little intention. It takes a little energy. It takes an opportunity for us to actually live consciously in our lives. And as we dive deeper and deeper and deeper into this, as we continue to work with the book and throughout this month, we're going to be blowing our minds with the way in which we can actually shift our lives, not only in consciousness, but at the subatomic level of our very being, which really creates the kind of experience that we want to have. Joe Dispenza says this: our mission then is to willfully move into the state of consciousness that allows us to connect to universal intelligence, make direct contact with the field of possibilities, and send out a clear signal that we truly expect to change and to see the results that we want in the form of the feedback of our lives. And we are going to learn how to do that.
Well, we can't just leave you hanging here. It's like if we're all going to stop complaining, we got to have some tips on how to do that. Oh my gosh.
Just stop it.
Just stop it.
Well,
if you haven't seen that video, okay. So, first tip, number 1, be aware of your words and your thought. It really starts with awareness, first and foremost. Be aware. So just place that somewhere. Be aware. So as the thoughts come up, how about be aware before the words come out, right? Especially to enrich and grow those loving relationships in our life. So before it even comes out, just be aware. Stop. Stop it, right? Number 2, take responsibilities for your thoughts. It's not like it's someone else out there. No, they're my thoughts.
And my words.
Oh. Right? So if it should happen, it might happen, that you find yourself complaining tomorrow, maybe even today, though we're stopping. You know, just be aware and take responsibility and say, okay, I caught myself, I'm responsible, and I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to do better, right? Number 3, look to replace your negative thoughts with positive opportunities. You know, there's all kinds of positive opportunities. Well, the weather, you know, got below freezing, the ice got all messy. I was like, I want to go to work, you know, and then I actually found myself enjoying being at home working. And I felt like I had a little bit more time to get to email. I know I still owe y'all a few. But, you know, but to turn it around, like, look at this opportunity.
But what an amazing thing to say, wow, I got to have more time, instead of I never have any time.
I never have, that's one of my
Isn't that amazing?
complaints.
What an amazing
Never have
thing.
enough time.
Do you see? That's shifting the atoms and the electrons. It's completely changing reality.
Instead of growing I never have enough time. Okay, I'm working on that one, folks. Y'all are going to help me. Focus on what you really want, like the quotes we've already shared, and look for solutions. You know, in relationships, talking about relationships, it's very well proven that people don't get promotions if they complain and are negative, you know, or they just keep complaining like, you know, the coffee machine is broke again. Look for a solution. How about calling the coffee company? Or, you know, you bring a solution to your boss instead of always complaining about something. So look for a solution and then act upon the solution or suggest the solutions. And then finally, and this is really, it was a parody at the beginning when we showed that video, and if you missed it, you got to find out what it was, because I know some of y'all came in afterwards. Be grateful. Be grateful for what we have. We are in a first world country. We have so much, and so be grateful and look at what we're grateful for in the midst of about to complain about something. I'm so grateful I had heat. And yes, I could keep it at 72 if I wanted to. Well, it was cold outside. Right?
So it's, when you learn to view life and everything in it as a miracle, you soon see that complaining is a waste of the miracle that you are. Yeah, isn't that great? So Karen has shared some tips for, in the moment, what happens, what we can do when we find ourselves ready to just let loose again or drop into that habit. But beyond that, there is this miraculous reality that is the truth of our being that gets veiled when we walk around with that negativity. And so what we want to do is find some other overall life choices or overall life ways of being in the world that actually keep us from even falling into the complaining routine, the complaining habit. So the first one is to ask ourselves, am I raising the energy in the room or am I draining it? Am I adding to what's going on here or am I dampening it? Am I a benevolent presence in the room? Now this does not mean you can't say, there's something here that I don't like. What are we going to do about it? How do we find a solution? Do you see, that's not complaining because I'm already moving to solution. Which is the antithesis of what complaining actually is. So are we intending, are we paying attention to, are we noticing whether we are raising the energy in the room? Now, it's really important to take care of ourselves for us to get out of the habit of complaining. When we are chronically tired, as Americans are, we are chronically sleep deprived. So no time and I'm tired are the two greatest complaints that you hear people say. And if any of you have been, or any of us have been through the 12-step program, right? Hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. HALT. It's the worst time to try to be conscious. It is really hard to be aware and conscious of our thoughts and words and choices when we are hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. So taking care of ourselves gives us a baseline from which to operate. I love this. Complain or decide to be happy? You choose. Right? You know the old one, right? Decide to be right or decide to be happy. So decide to complain or decide to be happy. Now, turning something around doesn't mean I have to look at this thing I don't like and pretend that it's okay. It could be that I look at this thing I don't like that I've been complaining about, and I simply stop giving it attention, and I start paying attention to something in my life that's actually working, something that I want to be grateful for, something that I'm happy about. Do we want to complain or do we want to be happy? Finally, our spiritual practice really helps us create an underlying frame of reference that allows us to live a life outside of complaining. And one of the things that we'll dive into very deeply on the Wednesday series is Joe Dispenza, when he talks about how spirituality and science meets. He talks about these very ancient techniques that are now joining with scientific technology that is shifting our consciousness at the cellular level. And so we're going to be talking about these spiritual practices on Wednesday night, and as you read the book, you'll be exploring this. What's so wonderful is that he starts out with this deep scientific frame of reference, but it's so accessible and easy to read. So we're going to discover what spiritual practices really help us move in that direction.
Okay, so I want to end with a couple of key quotes, and this one, love this one by Ralph Waldo Trine. Never give a moment to complaint, but utilize the time that would otherwise be spent in this way in looking forward and actualizing the conditions you desire. If we think about, you know, the bits and the pieces of all the time spent on complaining.
I don't have any time.
Yeah, that's one of them. Stop that. No. So, but you know, when you collectively get that collected, now I have more time, first of all, and I'm doing it in what I want to bring into my life. I'm looking forward. I'm actually focusing on the conditions that I actually want to desire. So there is some time. If we just stop wasting time on complaining. Don't do the last one, please. I don't want to reveal that one yet.
It's all good.
Okay, good. And I don't want y'all to see it yet.
It's
a secret. And so this is the time. Some of you already, after Sunday, you went out and signed up at the kiosk to say, I'm in to stop complaining. Some of you brought sticks up here, right? The sticks in a bundle. It was a massive bundle that we're in this together, that we're locking arms, and we're going to leap, lock arms and leap together and help one another and go, ooh, that sort of sounds like a play, not make anyone wrong, just become aware. There it is. Because again, it's habitual. I don't even know. I had to reflect, and I actually thought, well, I don't complain much.
But I had the same thought. Let's see, we should tell some personal stories about complaining. I don't think I do that. We thought we don't have enough time to tell you all the stories.
We don't, which means we have to move on. And so this is it. This is the month. And on March the 8th and the 23rd, we're going to come together after Sundays, and we're going to talk about it. And we're going to talk about how this richly impacts our life over the next few weeks to stop complaining. Now look, we read a lot of stuff and researched. So the one thing I would suggest is begin today. Let's just take today. Don't look at the month. Just today, we're becoming aware and we're stopping complaining, right? Stop it. Stop complaining. And we're going to turn it around. And then tomorrow, wake up and go, today's the day I don't complain, right? Or whatever. But it's one day at a time so that then we can talk about sort of how that is richly impacting our life. So please sign up at the kiosk afterwards, and we're going to send you some golden nuggets, some funny, lots of funny cartoons, maybe some more funny videos, all that stuff to help us stay in this together this month.
And when you come on the 8th, we have a special gift for you that will help you every day. Take it one day at a time. Help you remember.
Right. Don't do it yet. But the last quote, oh my gosh, when Peter found this quote, oh, thank you. I'm in control. I went, oh my gosh. And it's by Emma Curtis Hopkins, one of our really true teachers. Okay? Okay, you can read with me. Look. Oh, there's a blank slide. I'm in control. So I believe there is a don't in this science which has no denial. She's all about denials in prayer and treatment. But there's one don't that has no denial with it, and it's only silence. And that is, Emmett tells us, don't complain. You know, of all the don'ts, this is the one. She pointed out, of all the don'ts in science, it is don't complain. I bet there's something to this, folks, so let's do this together.
So I just invite you to go within with me. Just an opportunity to get real with ourselves, right? An opportunity to get real. No shame, no blame. This isn't about finding fault with ourselves. This isn't about beating ourselves up. This is about becoming aware. And so as we go within right now, we become aware that there is something larger going on that is the truth of our being, that is the truth of life itself. There is an infinite reality that is so palpably present. It is the foundation from which creation springs. It is the wellspring of all the good that we can point at. It is the very love that is impelling itself into the universe. It is the conscious wisdom and intelligence that has designed this beautiful thing we call life, has imbued it with love and joy and beauty. And the truth is that you and I and all beings everywhere, we are that life made manifest, expressing, sharing, being the radiant light of God. And so as we have come together here this morning, let us affirm that we pull back the veils of negativity. We set aside the ideas that hold us down. We push away those very thoughts that drain our energy. And that as we pull away these veils by intentionally speaking only that which is true and good and beautiful and joyful, to speak only that which is grateful and fulfilling. And if we speak something that needs to be changed, we bring it with a positive solution, an idea that there is something in the mind of God so big, so powerful, so vast, that we can move into it differently. And as we remove these veils that stand between us and the one, our very light shines more brightly. Life is lifted, love is revealed, joy is flooding into our lives, and we become a contribution. We become a place where love shows up, where God is made manifest, where Spirit has its way in the world. All because we have simply decided to stop complaining. Allowing this to be our truth, we simply rest in it. We acknowledge this reality. We let it be. And so it is.